Hey traders from around the world, this is Jerremy Alexander Newsome with Real Life Trading. I hope you had a majestic weekend. I did get back to Nashville, Tennessee nice and safe after a good drive back from Chicago. Had a blast hanging out with everybody. It was incredible to meet Jason Chase for the first time and see Sammy and Catherine and Prasad and Justin again, and of course Brad. Beautiful time, sensational food, sensational friendship, and a joyous occasion, that is absolutely for sure. So checking out the general market, shall we? Let's look at Apple. And Apple had a nice little gap up today, very, very small. It was a retest gap since yesterday's candle was white. And really we're gapping up to a short-term resistance. Here's the resistance as I see it on Apple, right around 129 and some change. And I'm getting these resistance from these giant wicks that were back in the very, very beginning of March. And again, a good resistance there. And, we gapped up a little bit today, and that's kind of where we're, trading down from. So my overall thoughts are we probably won't break this line until earnings. I don't know exactly, as I mentioned before, what way earnings gap, but I know that they're going to gap in some form or fashion, and if they do gap above 130, Apple will be seeing much higher highs in the future. So at the moment, just kind of, I'm more bullish to neutral in Apple, waiting until earnings, which is about a week and a half away, and we'll see what she decides to do at that point in time. FAS. Keeping an eye on FAS. Remember, all things are subject to change due to volatility. But we're looking at FAS, and there's a lot of, there's actually not a lot of volume. I was going to say there's a lot of a little volume. There's a little volume on FAS, and the exponential moving averages, friends, are going majestically sideways. So I'm not really directionally bullish on FAS because it is, it's going sideways. So I'm more directionally to non-directionally bullish, so bull put spreads, put sales, maybe short-term calls like a day trade, maybe. But if we look at long-term moving averages, here they are. Again, we're right near the 100. We're kind of breaking out this little bit of a pattern today. So if we come into the hourly chart, we're looking at the hourly, we can see a really, really nice sized candle and what looks to be a flag or a pennant pattern. And if that does break, I think FAS could trade maybe back up into the 128 range. I don't think it'll be a huge, huge move, but maybe a quick, like I said, short-term swing trade, because overall, as far as the daily, FAS is quite sideways. So I'll be looking for a bullish to non-directional trade potentially on FAS. Like you guys know, last Friday, our Iron Condor on FAS expired worthless. So that was good to keep an eye on. A few other things. Qualcomm, this one was really popular today. Qualcomm gapped up. It was a retest gap. Prior candle was white, gapped up right to the 100 SMA and started getting some selling pressure. So if we come over here into the 5-minute pattern, this was a fade, and it was a very, very quick one. Just kind of just kept on going. And right now we're a little bit near the bottom of the gap fill. But looking at this really, really big, giant bearish candle, could it retrace a little bit? Yes, it absolutely could. But I think with that kind of volume already and the fact that we trade up to the 100 and failed, I'll probably leave Qualcomm alone the rest of the day to see what in fact plays out and what happens. Let's look at the general market. The SPY has a little bit of an upper shadow right now. And again, I'm kind of thinking that's coming from that little trend line. I likely do expect one more rotation down, potentially one more. And if we do get that rotation down, I'm going to be a buyer for sure at those levels. The SPY bull put spread, the weekly spread, did expire worthless. I'll go ahead and take that off the table. Here's your DIA. DIA, again, a little bit of a upper shadow. There's going to be some selling pressure here. I do not think that the market is going to go to zero. Keep an eye out for a lot of analysts to say that this is it. This is when the market rolls over. I just don't think it's going to happen. In fact, here today is the 13th of April, and you guys can see the statistics that I posted back on the 6th of April, mentioning where we're going to be above. So unless, again, something cataclysmically wild happens today, we will stay above 175 by today, which a lot of analysts were saying is going to be the free fall day. And there's another one that I'm going to be keeping an eye on, April 29th, Bloody Wednesday, which is being claimed by Weiss Research. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. I think the 29th is when the FOMC meeting comes out. And really, I think it would match up perfectly if we do something like this. Come down to the 29th when everyone's really, really bearish. We trade right down to this gap in the 200 and we get a bounce. Again, I think that will be a great play. So we'll see. We'll find out how that works. Here's a QQQs. Making some higher highs and some higher lows. Again, probably coming up to this little resistance. You got a bunch of white candles in a row. Getting a little bit of a selling pressure would not be that scary. So if you did get triggered into this particular trade and you want to create a debit spread for yourself, selling the 110 call, that could absolutely be a consideration as well. Let's look at silver for a moment. Silver, really kind of gappy recently. Trade up to that resistance that I was mentioning. Here's the resistance that I said was probably going to have a little bit of impact. Back in December, you had the 1650, and back over here was a little bit of a decent support. So that's where we trade to today. Again, I'm just thinking silver is going to ping and pong its way around this level probably for another few months, and at some point, making a lower low where that likely will be a great buying opportunity. Maria's put sales did expire profitable, so Maria, good for you. This was a quick swing trade that we had on silver. Let's look at ticker symbol POT. I have a good buddy of mine, Michael Clark's in this particular trade, buying low, selling high. I think that's a good way to do it. So here's your strong support around 3150, got an accumulation phase, getting another accumulation phase now. So how long will we trade sideways? I'm not entirely sure on POT, but we are accumulating as it appears, and we'll see if we do in fact bounce. And last but not least, let's look at Facebook. Facebook, beautiful wave rotation. In my personal opinion, great candle to be had. Strong resistance around 80.74. Facebook's earnings are approaching, so keep that in mind. We're making higher lows and higher highs. Our 79 April week 2 put sale expired profitable last Friday. A buddy of mine, Johnny, is in an 86 April week 4, which is 2 weeks away, covered call, and he had have no problem getting exercise up there. That would be a nice little healthy profit. But at this point, with this candle, I will be looking and considering some more put sales, maybe expiring next week, or we'll see, again, correlating over to earnings, what's going to happen. But over earnings, I kind of expect Facebook to gap up a little bit, potentially. But as far as trading it, if you're long, I think selling some covered calls at this point at some all-time highs, just in case Facebook does continue up a little bit. I think this breakout on Facebook could maybe lead us to the $100 range realistically. If we get a good rotation down, bounce, and if some good earnings reports comes out, I think Facebook gets into the triple digits finally. And that's just my thought. That's my viewpoint. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks so much for watching the real life stock review. Hope you are having a great Monday. I'll see you Wednesday. And until then, remember, love life, live life, and trade it.